Hey guys, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. So first off, a very happy Diwali to you and your family. Stay safe and have a lot of fun. Now let's talk about Kantara. Now this is the third Kannada movie I'm watching in my entire life. The very first two were KGF 1 and 2, and as you know, or if you have seen my review of KGF chapter 2, you know that it's one of my favorite movies of this year. I've seen it multiple times and I really enjoyed it. But as far as Kannada movies go, I have a very limited knowledge about this industry and the actors and the kind of movies that they make. So that was my little disclaimer. Now having said that, let's go into the review for the movie Kantara. Written and directed by Rishab Shetty, also starring Rishab Shetty, Kantara is a once in a lifetime movie experience. This movie's Malayalam version was released on October 20th, and I actually went first day first show to watch it. I wasn't really planning it, but you know, the previous night I heard the Malayalam version was coming out. Immediately sort of booked my tickets and I went in to watch the movie. So it was a Thursday, like I said, first day first show, and you know, the theaters, it wasn't exactly, you know, it wasn't exactly a full house, you know, but there were certain number of people in the theater. You know, the row I was sitting on, you know, there were a lot of people over there. But now I hear the reports that, you know, it's running into packed houses. So obviously the word of mouth is getting around. And the reason I brought it up was that, you know, because there were a lot of people, the movie's certain aesthetics, it was really scary. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. Genuinely, there are some thrilling and scary moments in this movie. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Kantara has the main plot of the story is, I would say, the sum total of two subplots. So, the very first plot, I would say, deals with a kind of a fairy tale-ish, magical, supernatural element. And the second subplot, or the second story, deals with a little more grounded, a bit of a social political issue. So let me talk about the mysterious supernatural element of the story. The movie starts with a king who is deeply disturbed, who can't find peace. So he sets out, you know, in search of that peace and comfort, and he come across a stone idol. And this stone idol is protected by a group of people, and there is a priest who you know, speaks on behalf of this idol, because this idol is their god who protects them, and there is a priest, right, who speaks on behalf of the god, because the god, the stone idol in the is able to possess this person, the priest, and the priest speaks like that. So the king, as soon as he sees the stone idol, he is able to discover certain form of happiness and content and satisfaction. Immediately, that's the presence he's feeling when he sees the stone idol, and he requests the people over there that he, you know, that can he take this idol, and he says he'll give anything in return. So the priest tells him there are conditions wherein the people are always traveling with, or needs to be with, the stone idol, their god. So what the king does is he offers his land. Now his land is actually part of a forest. So he tells his people to travel with him back to his kingdom. So like that they travel, he gives his land to these people and they stay there, the stone idol is there, the king finds peace, and that's it. So this initial story takes place sometime in the early 19th century. Now many generations later, in the 1980s, you know, the next generation, that the priest's next generation and the king's next generation, they're all living and coexisting in this land. So of course in the 1980s it's a different scenario, right? Obviously the king's family, his next generation, they have money, they have powerful, etc. But since so many years have gone by, the faith or belief in this god and this people have weakened. So they don't really trust this priest and these people and the, you know, the whole supernatural elements that they're talking about. They don't believe it. So that person is in charge now. So he's married, he has a son also, and you know, he, like I said, he doesn't really believe in all of this. So there is a festival where they celebrate this god, and that's the time when this god possesses the priest. The priest also has various sons and generations have passed, and you know, that particular son is carrying out all the rituals and, you know, all the process involved in taking care of the god and etc. So at that point the great grandson sort of conveys his doubt, and he says, is this really the god talking, or is the priest pretending? And the priest is immediately humiliated and he runs into the forest. And as he runs into the forest, they see him, you know, disappearing in a few sparks of fire. The priest just disappears. So at the same time, this man, like I said, the great 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 grandson of the king, he sort of tells the people over there, you have to give back the land or I will approach the court and I'll make this a legal issue, etc., etc. So but the very next day when this person decides to go to the court, he what do you say, he has some kind of disease where he spits blood and he dies on the staircase of the court. Cut to a few years later, what happens is the priest who had a son, right, he's all grown up, and that's the character played by Rishab Shetty, who is Shiva. And the king's very great 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 grandson, right, he also had a son, so that son has also grown up. His name is Devendra, played by the actor Achyut Kumar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, correct me in the comments below. So he's the person who played Guru Pandyan in KGF Chapter 2. So there's Devendra, the great 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 grandson of the king, and there is Shiva, the great 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 grandson of the priest. So these two are the main protagonists per se. So the Devendra, unlike his father who was greedy and who wanted land back, he seems to be with the people, protecting them, taking care of them. And him and Shiva, they have a a cordial relationship where Shiva, he's not exactly rich or anything like that, right? He's one of the people, and he's sort of the village rowdy. Unlike his father who was a priest, he's not very holy. He goes in the forest, hunts animals and eats them and all that. So he's got a lot of bad habits per se. And this Devendra, who's the great great grandson of the king, as they say, he's sort of like the landlord, and Rishab Shetty's character is sort of like a goon or a henchman supporting him. So that's the relationship. So the supernatural elements and all the mysterious elements ends over there. Now the second part, like I said, there's a second subplot. The second subplot, like I said, involves a forest officer. So like I said, they're all living in this forest area or a village near the forest. So this forest officer has a responsibility to do a survey of that area and mark off the clear boundaries. So this is a forest area, and once it's marked off, you're not allowed, because there are laws in this land that prevent you from going into the forest and, for example, cutting wood or hunting animals. It's not allowed because that's marked off as a forest area. You're not supposed to go over there. So this forest officer and his couple of he has a couple of officers working under him. They have a responsibility over there. At the same time, Rishab Shetty and, like I said, his character Shiva, the village they're part of, they rely on this forest to live for everything, whether it's food, whether it's resources, etc. So for that reason, the forest officer and Shiva, they constantly have a clash. So this is where I said the second subplot is a little more grounded. It's a little more of a, political and social situation, talking about forest area, land encroachment, etc. So this is the entire plot in a nutshell. Now personally for me, I like the supernatural elements of the movie more, because I believe that's where the movie really shines, because especially in, like I said, in the first 15 minutes when they're establishing all these elements and the story, there's a mythology over there that they're establishing, right? And there's a lot of mystery surrounding that mythology. So when the movie switches to the other part of the story, like I said, forest officer, land encroachment, social, political stuff going on, for me, I personally felt a little let down. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that the way the story begins and like I said, the aesthetics of the mythology that they're creating, etc., that was really interesting. That's I wanted to see more of that. But they, like I said, after 15 minutes they switch into the current era where Shiva is there. He's sort of having fun with his friends. He's having fight with the forest officer. So it becomes, suddenly it switches into that mass commercial entertainer. Nothing wrong with that, okay? But how it started, that horror mysterious element, they sort of put a pause on it and moved into another story. That's what I felt. But don't worry, this movie is still worth it. Go watch it in a movie theater. It has an incredible storyline as the movie progresses, and then you come to the climax. My God, like I said, they put a pause over there and then you move into the climax. I'm talking about the final 20 minutes, and they go back to the supernatural elements, and my God, the performance. I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers, but Rishab Shetty, the writer, director and the star of this movie, is incredibly brave, because this entire movie, when it comes to that final climax, that is the real USP, especially when the movie is over and when you go back home, there are certain visuals and that stays in your mind. So it was very important in that final 20 minutes. The performance given by the actor has to click, has to be nothing short of incredible. It has to be. It has to hit all the marks. It has to be incredible. If not, it fails. The movie fails. The entire movie, as good as it is, when you get to the climax, the level of performance given by the actor over there, it has to be extraordinary, otherwise it fails. And Rishab Shetty, the writer, director and the star of this movie, takes the responsibility upon his shoulders, where he says, okay, I will take that responsibility, and he gives the performance of a lifetime. My God, it wasn't just goosebumps, it was scary, it was terrifying. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen, but at the same time I wanted to close my eyes also, because the level in which, I don't know if I can convey with the right words in this review, the kind of performance Rishab Shetty gives at the very end. It's an out-of-body experience. That's the best I can say. Because genuinely, when you're watching in a movie theater, when you're watching that scene for the very first time, your jaw drops. You're like, is this really happening? Am I really witnessing this kind of a performance? It was something else, out of this world. And scary, goosebumps, all of this is happening. And the movie ends with a very interesting setup also. I don't know if there will be a second part. I don't think it's necessary. There's a certain element of mystery to which how the movie ended, and to me that seems perfect. I'm the kind of person who says you need to kind of answer the mysterious aspects of the movie, but in this case, the movie's mystery adds character to the whole movie. Especially the way it ended, it makes sense, because that's the kind of movie it is, that's the kind of story it is, and those are the kind of characters they set up. However, one last thing I want to say is that because of, like I said, there are so many elements and subplots and things they are covered in the story, so sometimes as a viewer, you can feel a little exhausted. In a good way, but still exhausted. Because after this movie is over, you sort of want to take a break and relax, after watching this movie. It's just that kind of a movie, like very intense, very visceral. So after watching the movie, you need a couple of hours to kind of relax, take it easy. It's just that kind of movie. Now for my rating for this movie, I'm going to give this a 3.75 out of 5. It's a once in a lifetime movie experience that deserves to be watched on the biggest screen possible with the best audio system. However, it can be a little exhausting, but it's totally worth it. If you are a movie lover, then go watch this movie right now. And special mention to writer, director and star Rishab Shetty for delivering an incredible movie experience. And that was my review, guys. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon, and of course subscribe to my channel for more reviews and videos like this. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and once again a very happy Diwali. Bye.